Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. I've got an amazing founder in Web3, Richard Ma, who also happens to be a venture partner with us here at Bloccelerate. Richard, would love to very quickly get a sense of your origin story. How did Quantstamp, the behemoth we know today, got started?
Yeah, so basically, I started Quantstamp about a little bit more than 5 years ago. And before I started Quantstamp, I used to be a high-frequency trader. So I used to be a quant on Wall Street. And I got really interested in Ethereum pretty early on. And so as an investor, I invested. And then when the first cool big app came out called the DAO, I was very interested in it because it's this decentralized internet organization. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna just invest all my Ethereum into this one product, which at the time was sort of the only noticeable one. And shortly after that, it was hacked, and basically a pretty large amount of sort of the ecosystem participants were all part of the hack. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I basically realized, at the time there were really no security companies. And if Ethereum is going to take off at all, then we're going to need to have security companies that are going to sort of look after this whole ecosystem that is developing. And that's basically the reason why I started Quantstamp.
Excellent. So tell me about the journey, and what were the challenges you faced at the beginning, middle, right now, so that our audience can learn from your insights.
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, we didn't have any customers because there were ideas of smart contracts that were going to be built in the future, but people didn't, start building them yet. So, early on, people basically had token sales, and so we sort of helped companies to audit their token sale contracts, and that's sort of how we got started. And those were the easiest possible contracts that you could do security audits for. Mm-hmm. There's the standard templates. People would make modifications to that, and then we just make sure, they can't mint infinite tokens, or nobody can burn somebody else's tokens in their wallet. And then luckily, over time, more companies developed and their projects got more complex. And basically, as that happened, we also learned alongside it. So, then sort of people invented NFTs, and then DeFi started coming along, like the first iteration with, MakerDAO and a handful of other projects. And then, sort of the second wave in 2020 with, Compound's, yield farming scheme, and Yearn and Curve Finance. So for us, in the beginning, the challenge was how do we actually serve these customers, and
what are they to begin with?
Yeah, what are they? How do you do business with these DAOs? And then over time, it became really clear there's still people behind the DAOs, and we could just figure out how much they wanted to pay for security, and and then over time also, people knew what audits were. So in the beginning, every single customer that I talked to, I had to explain what audits were. Yeah. And every investor that I talked to, I had to explain what audits were and how it's not a financial audit. And then over time, nowadays people know what audits are, and it's sort of on the panel earlier today, I think they were we want to audit, but we don't want to wait 6 months, and then everyone has a shared understanding of what it is. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of how it evolved over time.
Yeah. And what about the challenges now? Where do you see the largest pain points?
Yeah, I think today, obviously crypto right now, it's a very painful bear market, much like the one that happened between 2018 and early 2020. And the challenges today was that there's been a lot of dreams that have been dashed in the last 2 years, during DeFi summer and the whole NFT boom. And I think people are, facing the hangover of all these broken dreams, all these amazing DeFi projects that had really high ambitious goals, or these NFT communities where they were, trying to do something very idealistic. So today, one is we just try to protect all the companies that are still building out there, and also taking a harder look at what is the sort of different verticals and products in those verticals. Are there going to be gonna have like millions of users. Because in the last cycle we had a lot of capital come in, but most of the popular apps, they didn't have millions of users like in Web 2. They had tens of thousands of users, or tens of thousands of MAUs.
Yeah.
So I think that's basically the challenge we face today. And for Quantstamp, it's just about scaling the company. So currently we're about 75 people and still hiring about one person every 1 or 2 weeks. So it's just improving that like user experience for all the people on the Quantstamp team.
Yeah, I hear you. So what are some of the approaches, tips, tricks, tools you might recommend to growth stage Web3 companies?
Yeah, well, in the beginning, for the first 3 years, I had one-on-ones with every single person on the team, more or less continuously. And so it was like a great way to sort of, founders can do a lot of things. You can help with morale, you can answer pretty much any question about the product or the vision or where we would like our balance sheet, any potential question.
Yeah.
And over time, I've had to sort of like, instead of just have myself, basically have a team of mentors in the company that do that. So that's been like an important sort of transitionary phase of the company. But other than that, I think it's sort of mostly operated similar to when we're like 20 people.
Yeah.
And the goal is to keep it as close as possible in spirit to sort of that like nimble small team.
So tell us about your fundraising journey. What were some pivotal moments in ensuring your success?
Yeah, I think for Quantstamp's fundraising journey, we had one like great benefit, which is the company was profitable and we were growing, so we didn't really have to like most companies sort of hit this point where we run out of runway, or we're like 18 months from running out of runway and we have to do this big round. So for us, it was more like spending a lot more time getting to know the investors, and we brought on like a really good group, including, for example, early on like Nomura and Digital Garage, who've turned out to be great investors, and also crypto native VCs. And then in the middle of our fundraising journey, actually Bloccelerate reached out to us, and from getting to know the Bloccelerate team, we just thought like you guys had a lot of conviction, and was very thoughtful about which companies you invested in. You weren't like spraying into 50 companies, and so we were like that. And also Bloccelerate brought a lot of interesting ideas and tried to make them happen, which I like really like as a founder, because I'm always juggling 100 things, and for an investor to be very proactive and try to help out and have like good ideas, I think that's really valuable. And then as we went on, eventually, we raised around that over $1 billion valuation. And Bloccelerate also helped there because, we had like great investors like SoftBank come in. But it was so great to have sort of the helping with the signaling of the round, and also like discussing over the mechanics. For the bigger rounds, there's sort of a lot more players, and so I thought that was very helpful.
Yeah, it's a team effort. For all the BD introductions I make, companies aren't always very receptive, so it's a team play. So appreciate hearing it was also great on your end. So Richard, what do you think about this venture partner agreement? Do you think it's a helpful model for funds to engage with portfolio companies? And is there anything specific about Bloccelerate and Quantstamp partnership?
Yeah, I think for venture partners generally, it's sort of helpful if they have unique expertise in a certain area. And then for us, we might not know that much about games, but we certainly know a lot about security, and also seeing a lot what happens underneath the scenes at these companies. So that I think helps to inform the decision for what are great companies to invest in. And I think generally venture teams tend to be very small. So having this like additional resource from maybe different experts in the ecosystem, I think that's definitely adds value to LPs.
What are you looking forward to in your venture partner role?
Well, I think for myself is trying to also like give back to Bloccelerate, and over the course of my typical day, I'm talking to lots of companies, and so it's sort of natural that if I see a good one, I can like refer them. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, great to have you on board. Thank you so much for coming.
Yep. Thanks. Cheers.
And for those of you who wish to connect with either one of us, feel free to reach out.